of my secret pet projects at Google was to watch how top performers showed up in meetings. How do they think fast, talk smart when they're on the spot? And you might think, well, they're smart, so they always come up with the smart answers, give you the detailed strategies and plan forward and manage everyone. But actually, that wasn't the case. Out of the thousands of meetings I attended, the top performers did 3 consistent and simple things that all of us can do, but somehow we don't. So see if you do any of them. The first one is they summarize. Before saying anything smart and original, they would actually take control of the meeting by summarizing all the rambling. This simple act of summarization gives 2 points of leverage to the smart top performers. Number 1 is it brings back the attention of all those people who were busy on their emails, on their ping, not really contributing, not really sure what's going on. They help bring them back with their clear and succinct summarization. And the second thing they do by doing that is they actually transition the meeting from just tangents, pointless, directionless discussions to let's focus on this one thing and let's talk about next steps. And we all know that person in the meeting who's always so action driven, who is always so clear that can distill all of the things that didn't make sense into here's what we should do next. This is what every meeting needs, and being a top performer means you be the person that everyone needs in the meeting. Here's a 1-minute framework you can use to summarize in your next meeting. Look for 3 things. Number 1, the things that are surprising. These are usually insights that tell us something we didn't know before. That's why it's surprising. So point that out in your summary. The second thing is summarize for action. Out of all the debating, the theorizing, which point should we focus on to take some next steps? And of course, this gives you the natural power to say, okay, because we're focusing on this, here are the next steps. And you get to control and lead where the project goes next. The third thing, equally important, is to summarize for what is not relevant, what is not in scope. Because a lot of time we can say, oh yeah, we want to do everything, so this project is going to take us 3 months. Instead, if you just focus on the most important thing and say, actually, we're going to deprioritize those that are not in scope. This can be done in 2 weeks. So you want to be the person who points out what's not in scope and should be deprioritized. So in the next meeting, instead of focusing on what you should say, just focus on how to summarize for the surprising, the actionable, and things that are out of scope. The second thing top performers all do is they ask the question, what do you mean by X? How many meetings have we all attended where someone says some jargon like, let's uniquely engage virtual content? And you think, I don't know what that means, but then everyone else seems to be nodding and saying, yeah. And you think, okay, I guess it's just me, so let me leave it. But then when you end the meeting, you hear other people giggling in the back like, oh my God, what does that even mean, virtual content? And you hear some people say, oh, I don't know. How am I going to do this? I don't even know what this means. If no one knows what's going on in the meeting, that meeting was wasted. And then all of the work that comes out of that meeting is so vague, it's so confusing that in the end, the output is also going to be vague, confusing, and you probably need to redo a lot of work. And for top performers, of course, why would you waste your time doing that? So they are not afraid to get some clarification on what do you mean exactly by X? So the 1-minute framework here is switch your mindset. If you don't know the answer, don't feel like, okay, I guess I'm not going to say anything. Clarify the question instead. Once you clarify for yourself and for probably the rest of the team about what's going on, it's so much easier to then participate, than to offer something smart to say. I've got a communication cafe coming up focusing on this idea of asking questions in meetings. How do you ask better questions? If you're interested, check out the link below. The third thing top performers do is be the source of truth. This was actually called out to me by one of my introverted colleagues at Google. He said, I realized I need to be the person who creates the Google Doc that structures the project. I need to be the one who takes notes and then organize it and lay out who's doing what, and just naturally, I become the leader of that project, even when I'm not. If they need to ask me for access to the Google Doc that has everything done for them, that in their eyes, I am the leader of that project. So the 1-minute framework here is, if there is a project that's just starting, volunteer to be the person who sets up the structure, especially if you don't like speaking on the spot, then you want to grasp and volunteer for that role to structure the project and start documentation for it, because you will become the go-to person who sees the progress, who sees the updates, and who is going to be there to present this to senior management. Right? It's not just going to be someone who only sees their own part. They're going to pick someone who actually sees the entire process. And because you've been creating the doc, you've been organizing the ideas, you've been trying to structure it, you already had time to work on what you're going to say. And so you can show up so much better in meetings that way. And if you want more tips to talk smart and think fast, check out this video here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.